Hey guys, so a few weeks back I posted a couple of videos going over some factors that are involved in those of us that get elbow pain. Some stuff that's going on south of the elbow and stuff that's going on north of the elbow. But here I'm going to go through some other things that may be going on, and these are some self-mobilizations that you can try. They're very simple to do, and you'll know immediately whether it's going to be helpful to the elbow pain that you may be experiencing. So we're going to do two self-mobilizations. One is going to be for generally those of us that may be experiencing pain on the outside part of our elbow, the lateral part. Oftentimes they call it tennis elbow, whether or not you play tennis. And another self-mobilization is going to be for the inside part of the elbow, the medial part. And that, for whatever reason, they like to call it golfer's elbow. So pain on the outside, pain on the inside. And so what we're going to be doing is a shift to the elbow, and we're going to do a specific shift whether you have pain on the outside or the inside. And then if you yourself are experiencing elbow pain, what you want to do is hold that shift and then repeat whatever the problematic action is. It could be bending and straightening your elbow. It could be making a fist and gripping. You have pain at your elbow. It could be that you got to have a weight and turn it back and forth. Whatever is the uncomfortable thing that you need to do to elicit some elbow pain, you're going to try to hold this shift and then see if while holding it, that alleviates that discomfort. So those of us that tend to get pain on the outside of the elbow, half the time need to shift the portion of the elbow south of the joint laterally in order to alleviate it. So the way in which you do that is you come up against either a bar in a squat rack or a door opening in the frame. You can lean your body up against it. And the key is to lean up against it so close that the door frame or the part of the rack is just beyond where the elbow hinges. If it's too far away, then you get a really awkward leverage. So you get fairly close. And then you take your opposite hand and using that little armpit nape part of the thumb, you get very close to the south part of where it hinges at your elbow. And you're just going to shift it perpendicular to your forearm, and you're going to shift the joint over. And you press as firm as necessary for it to feel better whenever you do whatever action that is. It could be gripping. It could be that you're bending and straightening while you hold a shift. It could be, again, you have a weight and you're turning it back and forth. What dictates how hard you push is based on what do your symptoms tell you. This should be immediately alleviating if it's indicated. Meaning you give a nudge and then you go to do what was painful before and it is immediately less bad. You may need to nudge a little firmer. You may need to change the angle a little bit in order to make it feel pretty good, and then you just simply repeat the motion or the action a bunch of times. Magic number is somewhere around 10-ish. Now, if this is something that's going to be helpful, it is immediately alleviating, and it tends to last. It doesn't revert back. It feels pretty good after. You may have to repeat it a bunch of times, but it's not something that you chronically have to do a half a dozen times a day for a week on end. That would indicate something else is going on. So that's in the lateral portion of the elbow. When it's more medial elbow pain, then the shift just has to go the opposite way half the time. And the way that you do that is you wedge the arm against the body. If you have proportions where it's hard to get your arm against the body, then you just sort of roll up a towel. Again, make sure it's just north beyond where the elbow bends, and then you take the opposite hand and you pull it the other direction. Again, perpendicular to the forearm, and you hold. And again, would it be gripping? Would it be bending and straightening? Would it be going back and forth with a weight in your hand? It's whatever elicits your specific symptoms, and based on whether the pain is more on the outside portion or what's on the inside portion is where you would just guess and try a shift. Now, it is not always 100% of the time that you got to shift it outside when it's lateral outside pain or to the inside when it's inside medial pain. You may have to flip it. Pain is not always one-to-one depending on what the situation is, but half the time, this is something that works fairly well. So give that a go. Ask any questions if you've got them. This is something that should not cause any problems. It should not cause more pain. That would indicate this is not the thing to do. And if it's going to be helpful, it's pretty significant, the relief that you get, and it sticks around. So I hope that was helpful. Again, ask any questions if you got them. Regardless, I hope you're well.